Hello everyone, so in this video I'm going to be going over every type of false alarm pool that could occur with a fire alarm system. Like every possible way a fire alarm could be activated by a false reason. And also I'm going to go ahead and say right now that false fire alarms are not a good thing to cause, and you should never cause one. Now, I don't want the strobe of those devices just going off every time I pull that thing, so shut off the power to it. So let's get right into this. So, one method of pulling a fire alarm for a false reason would be literally just purposely doing it as a prank. Be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go pull this real quick. Because it looks cool, I'm just gonna pull it to make myself look cool. Yeah, trust me, that kind of thing doesn't make it look cool at all. Second type of false alarm pull would be, say you're just say you're just walking somewhere and then you trip on something and pull it. It would be considered a false alarm pull, but then again, didn't exactly mean to do it. But some people wouldn't care whether you meant to do it or not. It's still a activation of the system with no actual reason for it to be activated, so it counts as a false alarm pull. Another way one of these pull stations could get pulled by accident for a false reason is if something like this were to hit it. Kind of be like something like that were to just run into it like that. That's another way of accidentally pulling the alarm and setting it off for a false reason. And now as I'm done with all the pull station reasons that I could think of, now I want to go over things related to smoke/heat detectors. So with a heat detector, those things have to get up to a certain temperature before they activate, and if a plug-in furnace were to reach such levels, or maybe something from a fireplace, or maybe you're just cooking something and it all gets to a certain level, the heat and smoke detector nearby would activate and set off your notification appliances. So that's another way that it could do that with a smoke or heat detector. And obviously the water flow with the water flow switch and fire sprinkler suppression system. Now, if you were like draining the water within some place and said water was connected to the water flow switch, which would be connected to a fire alarm control panel, and then connected to the fire alarm system, then water flow switch would show a system trouble. No, not system trouble. What would it be? Supervisory? Yeah, supervisory. Well, actually no, it wouldn't show like that either. The water flow switch being activated would actually set off the fire alarm system directly. since it would be tied into the fire alarm system. And if a water pipe busted, or if you were draining the water for like some kind of a repair or something, then something within that line going from what you were repairing to the water flow switch would cause a fire alarm activation, because the water flow switch would just detect that water was flowing in some kind of way within the pipes, and it wouldn't care what way that is. It would just know that the water was flowing, and it would activate the alarms. So that is pretty much all of the ways that and also like maybe like a cigarette smoke maybe gets into a smoke detector, that would set it off as well. But that's all the ways that I know that a fire alarm system would be activated for a false reason. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say that activating fire alarms for a false reason is not a good thing to do. Should never do it. This video is not to tell people to go pull fire alarms for no reason. It is to inform people of how to avoid false fire alarms. So you should never pull a fire alarm for no reason. This system here with these notification appliances and that initiating device, this is a demo board, my own personal demo board. So I use these devices for demonstration purposes, like system tests and stuff like that. So I can literally pull this thing whenever I want. And I do actually have a STI Stopper 2 cover coming in soon that I'll place over this pull station, and I might make a whole video explaining the purpose of that STI Stopper 2 cover. The fact that it's meant to prevent false alarms with that little small size horn thingy that it has inside of it. But anyway, that's all I got for this video. So if you like it, like, comment, subscribe, and all that. And I know I said I didn't want these jobs going off for like the entire video, but that didn't mean I didn't want them going off for at least one part of it. So have a nice day.